Sometimes we feel like we're doing so much, yet nothing is dying, and I smash my desk when that happens to me. I also see a lot of people making these hard rules like you gotta shoot the backline as Tracer or go for Widow, and really forcing them too much when you can't really afford to do that. So how can we get more kills? And how do we know if the target we're shooting is the right target? Today, I want to talk about 3 things for target selection so you can find more kills and also find the weak link of the enemy team. It's seeing more, choosing better, and thinking broader. Before we begin, for those who don't know who I am, I'm Wizard Hyung. I work for many different professional Overwatch teams for about 7 years, winning 2 regular season #1 and a few stage championships on the way. Also working with about 70 professional players, including the very best ones like a lot of the players you would recognize. Last year, I retired, and now I'm focusing on sharing my knowledge to the general public. The first is seeing more, and the opposite of that is fixation. Interestingly, when I watch my students, whether they're gold or GM, when they start shooting at something, they often tunnel on that target. It's like they're in the one-on-one fighting ring against that enemy. In this fight, Tracer sits the Cassidy and wins a small trade with the great blink usage. However, he did not help the main fight at all, so he was a non-factor for the main fight. We don't even know if something was killable on the point, and actually, enemy Cassidy arrives at the fight sooner than the Tracer, getting the kill before the Tracer is even in the fight. His initial trade was good, but he didn't need to fixate after the trade. Here, this Tracer is picking Brig, but after the initial trade, he still fixates on Brig, not doing very effective trades. So how can we fix this? Well, we gotta be a bit of a playboy. If you're only loyal to your wife or girlfriend, that's not how we want to go about the target selection. As a playboy, you want to text Mindy, and if things are not looking great, you immediately want to text Susie and Christine, keeping your options open. Or you think the Ana might be killable, you still want to at least look around. If everything goes well with Mindy, it would be a happy ending in real life, but doing that good trade or even getting a kill might not be enough to win the game. Like, you never know if someone better than Mindy, hypothetically someone like Chaewon from Le Seraphim, asking you for a date. So the essence of Playboy style is you text every girl around you, look for better opportunities, and if things are not going well, look for someone else. In this clip of Alpha E, he starts shooting the Tracer. Then he thinks the Zen was isolated, so he goes in with the bubble. But enemy D.Va helps immediately, so it's a no-go, like Mindy ghosting your text. He waits a little bit and tests water for Zenyatta one more time. But it's still a no-go since Zenyatta is getting healed by the Ana. So he's now moving on to the new girl, Tracer, taking the space from the enemy Tracer. And now he sees enemy Widow pretty close range, and the Widow just took a shot, so she's vulnerable, which is a green light, and he gets the kill. Then he's back to Tracer and D.Va, and he sees Zen using Transcendence, so D.Va isn't really killable anymore. But that means enemy Ana would be alone, so he goes for Jennifer, the Ana, finding the new girl like the Playboy. I think not to mention lower yellow players, but even the top 500 players wouldn't apply this Playboy style to Alpha E's level. One quick tip for becoming a Playboy is paying attention to your sound cues and any information like bullet tracing. Based on those information, you can look around and see who on the enemy team is making mistakes and who on the enemy team is a threat. When you watch pro players, they simply look around way more, almost as if they're paranoid. They not only see kill catches better, but also they die less because they're constantly updating enemies' LOS like Widow or Cassidy. Also, whenever you pick a new target, you might get the golden opportunity, where the enemy is not expecting you, so they're not dodging, so their movement becomes much simpler. It's a really easy opportunity for you to do a lot of damage and win the resource trade battle. Here, Stalker shoots the Winston, then peeks a new target on a new angle, and finds the golden opportunity on the Tracer and doing a lot of damage on the enemy Tracer. And you might be wondering, why do I have so many Tracer examples? Well, I've been working on a Tracer course for the last 2 months, and that's why. But anyways, how can you go back and forth targets if you don't have mobilities like Tracer? Well, yes, it is more difficult without the mobility, and it is slower, but still you can apply the same principle. In this example, the Sojourn is shooting back and forth the enemy core and the point, trying to look for better targets and also assessing if the enemy core is going to rush them or not. Here, he is peeking the left and he realizes it's Orisa by the cover, so it's a no-go. Then he peeks the Tracer unexpectedly, also a favorable matchup, and soon he peeks the point from 2 different angles. Once he sees there's no target, he finds the new target peeking a new angle, constantly finding a new better target like a Playboy. Now, second thing you can do to improve your target selection is subscribing my YouTube channel. Kidding. The second thing is choosing better. Sometimes you might be missing the kills by not implementing the Playboy style, but even when we have all the information, like looking at the entire enemy team in our vision, we often go for the wrong target. In this example, there's 4 of the enemy team, and Orisa has the highest HP, in other words, more resources. But we still shoot Orisa among all other targets that are more killable. So how can we choose better? Here are the list of things that we can look for. HP, how low they are, cooldowns, what skills they used, exposure level, how far from cover, overextension, how close to our team and how far away from the enemy team. Numbers advantage, it's 2v1 so you can take the fight. Focus fire, who's my team shooting? Heals, vision, like I explained earlier, looking for that golden opportunity when they're not looking at us. And of course, there's way more to it, just like the example of Alpha E. For Widowmaker, her shot timing can be a signal. So all of those on the list is a signal. So someone with no HP or no cooldowns can be a great target, and even small things like when they're not looking at you or heals can be a great signal. It's pretty straightforward, but processing all of them in game would be very difficult. So again, it's scalable. And my pro tip for applying this concept, when you go into the Playboy mode, which means when you get away from the fixation, you automatically get to see more. You're looking for those signals like who's low HP or who's more killable. So when you go into a Playboy mode style, I think it automatically helps you to find these signals rather than just mindlessly taking the fight and shooting whoever is in front of you. The last thing is the macro, thinking broader. It's the bigger picture of the game. First thing I want to talk about the macro is the line concept. There are points where if the enemy backline doesn't cross the line, they have limited LOS. Like in this case, the backline's LOS would be like this, very limited unless they cross the line. So we can manipulate that and shoot the targets that cross the line. Usually they're tank and flankers like Tracer or Genji, isolating the enemy backline. So in this example, Alpha E is doing a lot of damage against their Winston and Tracer, not getting exposed to the enemy backline at all. So the dilemma for the enemy team is, if their backline cross the line, they get close to the enemy team, so they are more vulnerable. But if they don't cross the line, they have much limited LOS. And the line usually overlaps with the choke. The backline will have no instant cover stacked in a tiny area. So this is a great indicator for if you want to shoot their tank and flanker like Tracer or Genji, or if you want to shoot their backline. So from the macro perspective, target selection can depend a lot on the backline's LOS. And one of the easiest way to see that is the line concept. And if this soldier understood the line concept better, he could have been playing outside of the enemy backline's LOS and still doing a lot of damage on the enemy tank or flankers who cross the line. We can also think about who is their weakness and who's their threat. In this example of Stalker, he chases down enemy Ana because they have Pharah Mercy. So their Ana would be alone for the most part since the enemy Mercy would need to fly with the Pharah. So the Ana is the weak link. My another tip for you is player tendency can also be a weakness, which means a bad player can be their weak link. If you play in a comp game and you see a certain enemy player is playing really bad, I like to take advantage of it, which can potentially create some internal trust issue on the enemy team as well. When I coached New York Excelsior, we had a match against Seoul Dynasty, which at the time considered to be the best Eastern team. But we thought their main tank, Miro, and Cookie's playstyle was their weak link. So we prepared a strategy using a lot of Roadhog to pressure their Winston, and I think we're the first team to use the Roadhog as a main tank in the Overwatch League. And I'm telling you, we focused their main tank so f***ing hard, making their life miserable. In a similar note, if there's a huge threat like enemy Widow, that can be your focus as well. But again, remember, this is not a hard rule that you should always be following. Good players read the game and bad players blindly follow the rules. If the Widow is too passive and not taking the good angle, you can ignore and just check the location here and there. But if the Widow is taking a good angle and needs to be dealt with, then we would have to get close to her. Next, you can choose your target based on your win condition. If your team is more pokey and enemy team comp is more divey, then you can try really hard to focus the enemy divers, forcing out their cooldowns and their turns so they cannot sync their dive well. But of course, even while you are doing that, rule number 1 and rule number 2 applies. If the enemy support all of a sudden is too close and feeding, then you can switch your focus and just get the easy kill. Or pressuring someone with the key ultimate can be the win condition. Trying to force an Ajax on their Lucio or focusing their Genji's blade can be an example. And even if you actually don't kill the Lucio while he's using the beat, by simply pressuring them a lot, you can mess up their ult timing a lot. And the next thing is the territory. Sometimes you just fight over a certain space or key position of the map, and whoever comes to fight you for the territory can be your target. Of course, there's way more to the macro part of target selection, but here are some few key things that are more applicable for your games today. Thanks for watching the video. If you like the content and if you want to learn more from me, you can visit my website. I'm launching my website today and offering one-on-one coaching. Also, I'm planning to open my online course in English version as well, and my Korean lectures just got huge updates. So if you're interested, you can check out the link below and see you next time.